Hey traders, what's going on? Jamie Sedley here. It is Wednesday, and this is the Midweek Strategy webinar. And certainly an interesting start to, I guess we call it the final trimester of the year, right? Because we're talking last 4 months. So not last quarter, but last trimester. And before I continue, just let me know you can see the screen, please, and let me know that you can hear the sound of my voice. We're going to concentrate for the most part on the last, looks like it's all good. All right. We're going to concentrate on the last two really the last 2 days, the last two posts, I should say. Today's is actually out. But it really, the story here is what's going on with the dollar, right? So Peter's saying, can you look at S&P? Yeah. Actually, Peter, why don't we'll start it off with a chart of we can look at the S&P. So it's taking its sweet ass time, but that gap at 29.53.40, excuse me, I have the hiccups, looks like the spot to really pay attention to. If you go a little bit above that, then you do have a slope confluence right here, and that's going to be about 29.68 or so. So if I scroll back and look at, remember this is the long-term chart. Here's the daily chart. So March, right, 2012, September 2012, all the way back to then, right? Shift forward from the 09 low. I mean, you just have to remember how big these levels are, how many times we've bounced off of them, right? First is resistance, then is support, not all the time precisely, but then is support, very precise here, very precise actually in October 2014, the Ebola scare. Resistance, okay, starting in April 2016, right? Support throughout 2017, and then support again, apocalypse, all that stuff, right? And then even recently, back on August 13th. So we had resistance right there. So if you're going to go there again, it's like, 29.67 or something like that. That's what I'd pay attention to. I keep noting as well, if you're going to have a big drop in the market, how many times do I say this? I'm sure you guys are getting sick of it, but the put call ratio's got to be lower. Okay. This is a sign that people just are not bulled up. They don't believe, right, in the rally because there's more put volume than call volume. I say it all the time. It just can't happen. You can't have a big drop if you don't have this, okay, down here somewhere, at least to start off, right? So again, we don't have that. We have to wait for that, and I'll tell you when it happens. But what I actually think is even a better chart to look at for stock market stuff is going to be the Dow, okay? You go back to December low, call it the Christmas low, right? Trend line off of the June low. Scroll up, you can see that was resistance back on the 22nd. And the Dow's the cleanest pattern because you have the clean 5 down, whereas the other ones you didn't have this low down here, right? And now you're working, I think, on the 3 up, A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's kind of a zone that you want to watch for in the Dow, and that's going to be 2 legs up from the low is 26,563. 618 retrace is 26,593, and then the top of the zone itself is a little closer to the highs from April, which is going to be 26,696. So call it 26, 590 to 26,690. You're giving yourself kind of a 100-point Dow zone there. That's it's pretty good to work with as far as resistance is concerned. Okay, all right, so that is the S&P and the Dow. Now let's look back at some of the charts from yesterday. Okay, so we had that big 99.23 tag and took it out. And again, live chart in here. This was the right. This was the tag. And then if you do the relationship between this rally up to here and down to here, so separate by the August to September 2018 drop, right? At that point, you can kind of notice a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Very choppy and disgusting, but that's what we've got. And if you look at it that way, it separates, or it subdivides into 618, whereas this from here to here is 0.618 up here to here, right? Taking a lot much longer time, however, but covering 0.618 of the space. You've also got the former support down here from Feb 2017. So again, that chart, and then today's chart focuses just simply on the fact that guess where you are? You're back to that center line, which was such big resistance back in 2018 and recently in 2019. In fact, just last month, in fact, just a couple of weeks ago. Okay. So this is off to a pretty good start in terms of, two very sharp down days. As noted in today's post, you've got very sharp, kind of a straight line drop almost from the high yesterday. And really since Europe got in on Tuesday after the holiday, and straight down would be a good spot for a little bounce. Okay, if I go to the hourly chart, you can actually see that we're around the 200-hour average. So if you got a bounce, then the spot to look for resistance is probably 98.83. That is the high volume level from last Friday. Okay, that's the spot to pay attention to, in my opinion. All right. If we go back to real quick. DXY. Where was it? Remember when we did the 98 comparison? I feel like this line is probably when things get really bad in terms of the dollar absolutely falling apart. But you know what? We'll save that for another day because it kind of takes me a while to bring all that stuff up. But again, if you want to see the 98 comparison, just go back to DXY to what was last Wednesday? 28th? Oh, for crying out loud. 28th. Where are you? Right here. Okay, here you go. At DXY, okay, 98. So yeah, draw off those lows. So down towards there is where things would start to get, hairy in terms of the similarities, I guess. So still on track potentially with that. All right, moving on. We also had US dollar, which was super interesting. Actually went log scale on this. So this is just your trend line all the way back to 2011, 2014. on log. And then if you zoom in, look at all that, all this stuff that you didn't quite make it on this one. On this index, a little different maybe in terms of where you might get something of a bounce, right? You've got the center line down here. Go 4 hour, here you go. All right, center line right here, and that's gonna be 12, call it 12,380, right? And that's in high with the May high, and all this down here and all this down here. If you bounced in there, maybe get resistance back here at around 1244.26. So my next goal or step in this process is really kind of leave, because where we are now, if we were here first, then I'd actually be thinking about maybe a little scalp on the top side for the dollar. But until that happens, until we get down here and show some support, I actually just want to be leaving, you know, orders to short dollar stuff, which we'll get into right now at resistance. So going to kind of today's post. Here is, we'll go to crude in a second. Let's look at dollar CAD first, because that one absolutely falls apart. So, I mean, amazing, right? We were on this thing as far as being short dollar CAD. It just, we got stopped out before it reversed the entire thing, and then some. But you know, yesterday we were at the highest level since June 20th, and today we're at the lowest level since August 14th. So in any case, setup here is just to leave short entries around 32.70, right? Got, if you kind of zoom in here, you can see that you've got former lows, congestion, kind of all, look at all the little highs, lows, closes that are within this zone, right? Throughout basically all of August. So that level is going to be proposed resistance up around 132.70. 132.82 is actually the high volume level from today. All right. All right. So that is probably my favorite setup right now in terms of dollar. Euro, you got to like Euro. I mean, you know, we had the reversal. We were talking about 109.05, 109.10, right? Low is 109.26, so pretty darn close. You've got 109.89 is the high volume level from last Friday, and you also have, by the way, 109, I think 93 is the month open. So pretty good stuff in terms of finding a level to buy there. I'm just leaving order up around 110, and I want to show you as well this. If I go to the weekly chart, look at that support again on this line, right? Here, 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 here. So and also if we look at the futures charts, which I can bring in here, Canadian dollar futures today. So the daily volume reversal stuff, we made a 50% higher than average volume day yesterday into the low on Canadian dollar futures, that which again would be high on dollar CAD. And then today was a 50% up day, right? 58% to be exact. That's pretty rare. In fact, you've only had 4 of them since the 2016 low, right? And they were all pretty big turning points. Obviously 2016, and then of course 2017, which would have been a little tricky, but it was a high in CAD, which would have been a low in dollar CAD, and then you had a pretty good signal back here in late 2017. So again, just got one of those signals now, and combine it with the level stuff, and we've got pretty good indication of a turn or an opportunity, if you will. And Euro did it, by the way, too. So here's Euro 2015 low, 2015 high. Again, both identifying the high and low right there. And then since then, you've had a number of signals. Some have been okay. I mean, you had one back here last year, and I think it was June, and then one in July, which were kind of minor lows. But then one here as well today. So, you know, just another piece of evidence that maybe something's going on in terms of a turn in the dollar. All right, moving on. Let's go to the Aussie dollar. Aussie, again, that same old line back to the January, what is that, 25th? All those lows, right? We've turned up off of it. You do have a possible fork in which you could have maybe some resistance up around 68.10.20. 68.20, of course, is just the highs over here from August 8th. But what I'm looking at here is leaving an entry on the top side of this former resistance line, okay? So 3 touches there, good looking spot. 67, it's gonna be 67.60s or so, which is great because high volume level there, 67.56. And oh, by the way, do you know what the January flash crash low was? Right here, 67.64, okay? So tag here, ideal setup, tag here, pull back, and then continue along within this fork for an extended period of time, and maybe eventually getting us all the way back towards this level up at 70, near 70, okay? One thing at a time here, just look for support or an entry in the 67.60s for Aussie longs, all right? Dollar yen's interesting here. It's kind of been ever since the reversal on 826, we've been back and fill, and we're back and filling below the center line, which is going to be 106.80 or so, which is just the low from June. But if you get up there, it's an important spot, okay? Because a burst through there takes you maybe 2 equal legs up from this reversal up to around, you know, 107.80, 108, something like that. Now, however, broadly speaking, kind of broader dollar reversal stuff going on. If you were to play any yen weakness or possible yen weakness, I'd rather do it through something like CAD yen, right? Which we have that, you know, like good CAD signal anyway. So CAD yen, remember the consolidation bottom that I talked about a couple weeks ago, and then of course we got like that, so it didn't really work out. But we're back kind of looking at that. Now you've got a better setup because you get a little neckline here with highs from the 19th, 29th, and 30th of August. And then daily reversal support, which remember, daily reversal support is just the close of the 820 or the low day close, which low day here, the close that day is 80.06, right? And that is possible support to take you up towards a super well-defined level. Underside of this level, 1 second. Apologies. All right. That's taking us up to around the 81, 90, 82 area. So that's the underside of the line from 2019 low and the June low. Obviously a well-defined level. I mean, you even had a little bounce here on this day, which was 8.1, and then you tagged it for resistance on this day, 8.6, and then we tanked from there. Anyway, so I'd be looking up towards that area. Also the trend line off the July highs. So that gets you there in about a week. if you could find support on that 80.06 spot. So call it 80.10 for an entry perhaps. By the way, if you're wondering, this magenta line right here is actually the year open for CAD yen. So yes, we have not, we are unchanged on the year for CAD yen, but do like this setup a lot for CAD yen. So if you're going to look at yen, I'd look at something like that. Euro yen's another one that's kind of interesting. Scrolling back, you just have the channel, right? All the way back to 2018 high. And remember this gap over here from the 17th or 21st, I should say, of April 2017. I think that was German elections. And we had a huge gap up. We just came back, filled that gap, reversed higher. You pull back off of it, you're going to get, you know, maybe look for some support around 116.80 or so. That's the monthly open. So again, you went through the lower channel line, came back through it, putting yourself in actually at this point a weekly reversal. Clearly the week's not over, but it is a shortened week. There's only 2 days left. So you could get a decent reversal on Euro Yen and have yourself a little low there for Euro Yen. So, you know, if you're going to play the yen crosses, I'd look at Euro Yen or CAD Yen. Pound dollar, forgetting Brexit, all the schmexit, whatever is going on, just looking at price action, the levels are pretty good. I mean, I thought we had a low in over here, and then of course we went for this big reversal drop, and we're back at the center line, right? So if you can get back through this, then you'd be looking at the center line to provide support as it did over here in May, June, and July. Okay, so let's actually see if there's a different volume level to look at for cable. And I think there is. All right. What is that? 8:28, 4 a.m. All right, so I can throw this on there. All right, so let's go to a 4 hour. So if we go to a 4 hour chart, you can kind of see that if you pull back, you might be looking at 121.90 or so for possible support. You get up through it, pull back, look for 22.60 or so for support to continue higher, okay? I'm not there with the setup. It's so newsy. That's why I'm kind of focusing on the update and trades on Euro, Aussie, and CAD at the moment. All right, let's look at crude, because crude is awfully interesting. All right, so here's the 4 hour chart of crude, right? You've got the low back here in June, early June, June 5th, right? Big move up, came back, kind of double bottomy, like right on it. Where it gets real interesting from pattern perspective is back here. So on August 7th, you had 5 waves up, right? You then had 3 down, this rally, and then it's kind of the stinger right here, right back into the lower parallel. So it's a beautiful structure to follow, a beautiful fork to follow. And if you can get back up through this kind of 56.80, call it 57.50 to be safe, you're looking at minimum probably 59.80 and probably a little more than that, right? Worst case scenario is that you're in a series of 3 waves from back here in June. Okay, I said 59.80 because that's 2 legs up. Near term, like over the next day or so, watch for support here at 55. Okay, 55 is the high volume level. It's the breakdown level from, you can see it clearly on this chart. It's the close of that big bar right there. And you can see how that was actually resistance back here on, I guess that was technically Sunday night. And then you had the drop down here. So yeah, look at 55 for support and then look to take it higher. And who knows, you could be trading within this fork for quite some time. Oh, here you go. So on log scale, it's like a perfect touch here, the median line, perfect tag here on the lower parallel. All right, so that pretty much sums it up for me in terms of everything I'm looking at. So a lot of dollar stuff, a lot of dollar clarity, I think, for the first time in a while. Crude looks pretty good, and equities look like they have a little bit higher to go before we want to see maybe some resistance. And even if that's the case, again, for a trigger, you do need to have a put call that's a lot lower. All right. All right, so if there are no questions, I'm going to wrap it up, and then I will get this archived ASAP. But have a great rest of your week. If there are no questions, I will let it go for a couple seconds here. Going once, going twice. Nope, just some thank yous. All right, everyone, then take care. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk later. All right, bye.